Alright, welcome back to another video. Today is, as I said in the last video, the rest of the Halloween units from Halloween Part 2. All these units were really good. This video is not super organized. I had some problems while I was doing it, but it should have everything in it. But if you see yourself come back around to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it if you would leave a like, subscribed, as it would, greatly support my channel. And let's just get on into the video. Alright. It's time to check out the rest of the Halloween units. I'm gonna hop on cosmetics real quick. Honestly, most of the cosmetics from this part 2 are really weak. This cosmetic doesn't even have visual effects. They straight up don't have one, which I was very upset about. Simon's is decent. If it had visual effects, it'd probably be the best. And then this one, which somehow is worse than the old Rosé's cosmetic. So if you're getting this unit because you think the cosmetic's going to be better, like if that's what you care about, I wouldn't. I would just stick with Goku Black's. It's a much better cosmetic than that one. I'm going to go back to being the old Halloween skin Dio. I can turn these guys pretty much to any infinite, doesn't really matter. I'm going to go left to right. Mainly because Gogeta has some setup required. I made a lot of money though. I will say, I think the best units are Goku Black and Zamasu and Ainz and Albedo. Or King of Darkness, Overlord, which, whether or not you know their names. Gogeta's not bad. I believe currently he's bugged, where when you transform, he will attack, but he does not do damage. Actually, I'll have to do Simon later. So we'll do them first. Again, no souls on them, just to get raw stats plus skill tree. I don't think they all have Simon doesn't have max skill tree because farming kills for him was kind of annoying. But let's just repass. So taunt. Redirect any stuns aimed at allies within 20% of this unit's range to this unit. Each time this unit is stunned via a redirected stun, and after using meet up, apply shred in range plus 5% range cap 50%. Plus 5, so then agonizing growth plus 5% damage per second stunned cap plus 250%. After capping, unlock dimensional rift while stunned, deal 10% of current damage per second as tick damage. I realize I can't stack that without. I gotta remember what units you can use to stun your units. It's been a long time. I know Denji can do it, so I'm just gonna run him. Does mean I will have to restart to use Simon, but that's totally fine. Probably cut some stuff out so it doesn't take quite as long. Probably once I build up my money. Say their placement stats are really good. They're super strong. I am curious if, I guess this is only after a redirected stun where they get this stuff. I want to turn game audio on, but I don't want to enable music. This thing is, I remember game audio for this game being. Oh no, it's actually not. Link it over on OBS. I'm gonna place Denji down so he can. How often does he do it? It's every 10 attacks. Oh, that'll stack up very quickly. Oh, it stuns. Yeah, it stuns for 30. So yeah, you just use Denji, you can stack it up like in 2 stuns. So that's maxed out, and now he has Dimensional Rift. On a missed crit, summon a clone for 25% of current damage for 30 seconds that inflicts either bleed, hemorrhage, or mutilate. Max of 5 clones. Enemies killed in range while under one of these effects grant plus 5% damage, cap of 150% on a successful crit. All existing clones perform a follow-up attack for 50% of their damage in this unit's AoE. Super strong passive on its own. With the 50% damage buff, he does crazy damage just without even being upgraded. That and that. I will say, maybe because you want to land missed crits, you might actually want to go, you might not want to go crit tree in the hopes that you can stack more of the clones instead. But I think that's up to preference. There may be an objectively better thing. So yeah, meet up, he gets at upgrade 5, and you'll notice all of his other upgrades disappear because without using this, you cannot go past this upgrade. Upon activation, it sends all enemies in range for 30 seconds. You gain Immortality and 0 Mortals passives, and unlocks the rest of this unit's upgrades. The rule is upgrading past upgrade 5 is disabled, as I said, until this ability has been used. I believe this has a cutscene, which is why I wanted to turn on audio. I'm also going to turn on attack effects. Did I not have cutscenes on? Did I throw? Ah, crap. I think it has a cutscene. I'll edit it in post. You'll see the cutscene. Active ability effects are on.
To bring about the justice I desired. I needed the perfect sympathizer as my ally.
Oh, this actually looks really good on this map.
There is no one who can stop us. We have all the power here. The two of us alone!
Goku Black put his scythe in his head. That was interesting. Alright. Back to, unit showcases. I mess this up every time, I swear. I'm not going to go back and do it right now. So he gets more range, bigger AoE. I don't bother looking at the attack animations in this game just because they're never really anything that crazy. So yeah, just from stacking the 250% buff, he can hit 3 billion, 4.5 billion. He's capping it close to 5 billion. Doing 1 billion damage. Technically having 1 billion DPS. Notice, damage is stacking up more now. Which is because, likely, so three new passives. Immortality, gain stun, immunity, debuffs applied to this unit are neutralized, agonizing growth can still proc, all non-boss enemies in range are slowed by 20% with their current speed, 300% elemental damage versus dark. Enemies in range take plus 15% more damage from all sources, plus 1% damage each second if bosses in range. So you can make enemies take 115% more damage from all sources. So it's a 150% damage buff plus 250%. These matter, I believe, for God Obliterator, a 100-second cooldown ability. Upon activation, you deal plus 1 multiplier for every % of damage buffed on this unit. So 400 times damage. So basically it's 400 times current damage to all enemies in range over 20 ticks, and surviving enemies are inflicted with fear. The audio on that's kind of sound. Which, that says that to all enemies in range over 20 ticks. So, I mean, we're talking, I mean, times 10 is 70 billion, times 100, 700 billion, multiply that by 4, 7, 14, 20, 2.8 trillion every 100 seconds. And technically, you could stack more damage buffs from other places. If you have, buff units, things like that, you could stack more damage buffs for even more damage. It's not impossible. I don't know how high you can get it. I would stress test it, but I think I lack the things to do so. Also, potentially with this, since it's 115% damage from all sources, double the nuke damage. Instead of 2.8 trillion, it's 5.6 trillion every 100 seconds, which is just massive. Makes him just extremely powerful for most modes. He is pretty expensive, and again, you can't stack the 250% without having someone to stun him. And I don't know a whole lot of units that can, on command, do that. God Obliterator might have a cutscene, so I am going to use it. It does not. Okay, so only Meetup has a cutscene. I think they put it in sneaks. But again, I will show that earlier. You probably have already seen it. Then we have King of Darkness Overlord. Notice he has death above his head. That'll make sense soon. So Dark Wisdom. On placement and on every upgrade, learn one random spell, max of 10. I think there are exactly 10 spells here. So the one that we have is Death. Every 75 seconds, mark 7 random enemies with Extinguish for 30 seconds. For anyone who doesn't remember what Extinguish does, enemies under this effect have no resistance to any elements. Once enemy HP is under 30%, take 25% more damage from units, and plus 50% more damage from nukes. At HP under 20%, this unit, which casts this effect, has a 2.5% chance to instantly kill the enemy. I'm gonna have to upgrade him because I forgot he attacks really slow. You see above his head, it shows all of the spells. So now he has Slow, Chain Dragon Lightning, Acid Arrow, Black Hole, and Meteor Fall. That's actually a really cool looking animation. I want to see that. It just absorbs them. Notice there's a meteor that falls. So we have Slow, you gain Slow. Chain Dragon Lightning, on crit, you apply Bolt. He has a higher crit chance than average, as far as I can tell, and I'm not sure why. Then we have Acid Arrow, every other attack, fire an arrow for 125% damage at the strongest enemy and gain Poison. That's why he's slow Poison. Black Hole unlocks a Black Hole active, and Meteor Fall. At the start of every wave, crash a meteor dealing 25 times damage. Then we have Pure White Devil. Gain up to 4 status effects mirrored from enemies/units in range. If there's Bleed, Hemorrhage, Dismantle, or Rupture, you gain Wind Shear and Bloodlust. I don't know. I think Bloodlust just buffs bleed DOT damage or something, but it doesn't have a description like the other ones. If there's Electrified or Bolt in range, you gain Plasma, Burn, Black Flame, Sunburn, Solar Flames, and Blue Flames. Or Blaze, he gets Blue Flames. Crippled, Weakened, Exposed, Shred, you gain Despair, and if they have Detonation, he gains Unstable. So, with the Rimuru has... I don't think he's any of the bleed ones, so you wouldn't get this. But he does have 2 different burn ones. So you get Blue Flame, you would get Despair. He might do a bleed DOT. I actually don't remember. But you could easily get a lot of these up with the right units. And there's the Hour of Self-Buffing, which I believe this passive does not work as intended. For each second not attacking, plus 10% damage, cap plus 600%. Stack lasts 120 seconds after attacking or on reaching cap. If target mode is none and max damage buff is reached, switch to first. I don't know how he has an 830% damage buff. I'm not exactly sure what's happening. But because of it, he can hit 12 billion damage. I don't think that's how this is supposed to work. Black Hole, I don't know if I read this. Deals 30 times damage to enemies in range and permanently apply Crippled and Negation. Negation just have their elemental resistance removed. And the goal of all life is death, gained on final upgrade. Upon activation, apply Decay to all enemies on the map. Enemies killed by Decay will respawn as zombies with 250% of King of Darkness's damage stat. Where is he stacking damage from? Because the 600% is already applied from Hour of Self-Buff. Like, you can't stack it again. Oh, I didn't read Grasp Heart, did I? I think I read through most of these. The Summon Undead, every 40 seconds when 3 zombies, 25% of this unit's damage. Ice Ball, every 25 seconds, apply Freeze to all enemies in range. Fireball, every 5 attacks, apply Sunburn. Then grass part is the last one I didn't read. The first time a mini boss or boss enters range, deal 5 times damage plus 5% max HP damage, which super strong. You notice he doesn't have the most range. I actually don't know why. Could I just do pure white devil? Because this gain up to 4 status effects mirrored from the enemy / units in range. It could be that because enemy typings, right? That could be part of where his damage is stacking from, because none of his passives, except the one that I already showed, should be stacking him any damage. Goal, see if that has an animation. It does not. And then the goal of all life is death. It also does not have an animation. That is fine. Again, super strong unit. He shouldn't be this strong, I don't believe, because stacks last 126 after attacking or reaching cap. So he's only supposed to have this for 120 seconds after he reaches his cap, and he's only supposed to stack it when he's not attacking. However, as of the current moment, he just gains it. I don't know where this extra 130% is coming from. If anybody can figure that out, put that in the comments, because I genuinely don't know. Like, I understand he's getting her damage buff, but he's just randomly stacking. Is he? No, he shouldn't be stacking damage on kills. Again, I think there's maybe something I don't understand about this unit, but who knows. Then we have Gogeta, which I think I need to pause the recording to show because I can't transform him. But he starts with Shred. He gets his damage scales with total unit kills, so not just his kill. That is an insane animation. The number above his head is part of his first passive and is more relevant. It matters for his transformation, I believe. 30% chance to follow up its own attack. The follow-up deals 1.5 times damage, is guaranteed to crit, and applies hemorrhage. So yeah, damage scales, unit kills plus 1% damage per 10,000 kills. Completely ridiculous, by the way. Or actually, total unit kills. Oh, you know what? It's the kill counter here. If I put you down. Okay. So I think that's why he's getting 2%, because he's almost 20k kills. That's hard to stack. That'd be hard to stack, though. You'd have to run a lot of infinites with him. And each attack grants plus 10% crit damage, cap 100%. After reaching the cap, each attack reduces this bonus by 20% until a follow-up hits. A successful follow-up cancels the reduction and resumes increasing. So he's kind of about crits, especially since he has Shred. We're taking upgrade 7. Well, that animation is not nearly as crazy as the first one. He gains Dragon's Roar Echo. Every 7th attack, deal 3 times damage in range, applying plasma off this multiplier and inflicting stun. Pretty strong. He's very quick attack speed. He's got 1 billion damage, 0.4 second attack speed. Again, Shred is a super strong thing to apply, making enemies take more damage from crits. Or actually, I think the vulnerable to crits, I think, means they're more likely to get crit. And then the enemies also take extra crit damage and more raw damage. So Fusion Tango, or Fusion Dance, whichever you feel like calling it. Upon activation, they fuse into Bogata of Miracles. Perfect. Requirements: friendly rivalry is triggered 30 times. That's why he had the numbers above his head before. That was showing how many times this is activated. And when the number no longer appears, it means this is done for the requirement here. And then an enemy with over 100 times damage, 100 times this unit's damage as health is in range. This is why I said I need to pause. It's going to take a while for a boss with enough health to spawn. So I'll come back when I can fuse him. I had to switch maps because it's going to take way too long to wait to have a boss with enough health for this. We're on hard mode on Hard Forest, or Pig Forest, Black Clover map. But in the meantime, we're going to test out Simon. So, I think as anybody knows, you can pilot the mech yourself and attack with it. Oh, I just sneeze. I'm just gonna set you to none. I don't really need you attacking right now. Fortunately, you attack really slow. Really wait for it to let me. Oh no, he just doesn't do enough damage. Okay, turn you back to first. We'll max upgrade him. You notice he has the spiral power, but actually it costs 3 million to max, so I couldn't even do that. But honestly, as far as I'm aware, they're piloting him is you don't really want to do that. It is better off if you do not. He's pretty straightforward. Unfortunately, you can't actually see Simon on the ground there. It's just the circle at the bottom. So, Tengen Toppa Lagan. Simon Digger will spawn with his personalized mech, Tengen Toppa Lagan. The mech will automatically attack rather than Simon. Spiral power. Every wave gain damage divided by 100 million spiral power, cap 1,000. Every plus 100 gain 2.5% range, cap 50%. The reason why this is weird is because it literally cannot reach that cap. It gains 2.5% range for every 100 spiral power gained. That means with a cap of 1,000, that means he can get 25% range. Unless this means his range can only be buffed by 50% total, and it cannot pass that, I don't really know. At 500 spiral power, he gains exposed, which makes enemies receive 25% more damage at 100% to elemental damage for 15 seconds. Okay, so he's not good enough to handle that. Simon is good, but he needs other units to help him. And then at 1,000 spiral power, he gains enhanced dismantled, deals 2.28 times damage in 6 ticks over 6 seconds, slows by 5%, and each tick drains 0.5% HP, 25 billion drain cap, and that's for each tick, so that takes 6 times. Plus it does slow. And then probability fluctuations. While a player is piloting Tengen Toppa Lagan, attacks deal bonus 0.5% to 1% current damage HP as damage uncapped. While Simon Digger himself is piloting, this bonus becomes 2% to 2.5% current HP uncapped. That's why I say it's better to let him attack on his own, because the HP drain is higher when he's doing it instead of you. And honestly, I just don't see any reason, because it's not like the attack speed seems any better when you're piloting. And we have his active ability, Tengen Toppa Giga Drill. Shoot out a drill that deals 10 trillion damage to all enemies on the map. After the first use of this ability, gain blue flames. Pretty strong. It's not crazy. I think Simon is probably the weakest of all the units, but I don't think that makes him bad by any means. Being able to... He's the first unit I've seen that can just apply negation, like on attack, not just from like a special ability or something. And then, exposed, enhanced dismantled. He has lots of pure health drain, which is makes him very strong in long modes. We'll use this just to nuke. He's got the blue flames. Okay.
Kakarot, you're the last person I expected to suggest fusing. This is going to be special. I can feel it.
Well, not a perfect location.
Fusion!
It works a little better this time. It does.
I'm neither Goku nor Vegeta. I am the one who will destroy you!
Again, I'm like 90% sure his damage does not work. And how do I know this? Well, the simple answer is really... Why is nobody taking... Come on. I forgot about that. Hold on. I gotta turn that off for a little bit. And we're gonna go to 1x speed so I can actually read Gogeta's passives. I have to use reality shatter, I will. So there's the 10 times after image Brandon Ha, which I don't need to explain what that is, what the name is referencing. Summon to after images for 10 seconds. It summons like 8 of them or something. You can see summons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 10 of him in total. They do a percentage of his damage. I don't know how much, but it's a pretty small amount. There's the Ultra Big Bang Brandon Ha times 100. On activation, stealth stuns for 30 seconds. During this duration, deal 300 times damage and 1% max HP per second. Keep in mind, this is not 300 times damage total. This is 300 times damage every tick for 30 seconds. I'll probably throw up like a calculator that shows the math on that. It also will drain 30% of enemies' max HP. Permanent changes now deals 0.5 times damage in range every second permanent. So he's doing a couple billion, you know, like 3.5 billion, closer to 4 every second. Clones from 10 times after image Brandon Ha are now permanently active. This is the Great Giant Ape's Rage. I believe I read this one, but I'll read it again because I was kind of rushed. Base damage scales with total unit kills plus 2% per 10k. Kills cap plus 100%. Each attack grants plus 20% crit damage, cap 300%. After reaching the cap, each attack reduces this bonus by 40% until a follow-up hits. A successful follow-up cancels the reduction and resumes increasing. As I said before, though, he literally does not do damage. I've seen people arguing that it's just a visual bug that it doesn't show up here, but he would be extremely dead by now if he was actually doing any real damage. At the same time, we have Primal Fused Warrior, which relates to the key bar. You gain a key meter plus 5 per attack / follow-up, and it drains 1 a second. Each stack grants 0.5% crit chance and plus 5% crit damage. At 10 stacks, ignore stuns, instead deal 50 times damage in range, applying Plasma Office Multiplier. At 25, you gain Weakened and plus 10% crit chance. 50, Mocking Taunt timer reduced to 30 seconds. I'll read that passive next. 75 stacks plus 50% base damage to this unit's summons, and 100 crit chance, 100% chance. Crit chance minus 100%. So whatever your crit chance is, minus 100% chance to super crit. I did not understand what this meant before. Apply crit damage multiplier a second time. So basically just do that twice. Summons no longer receive damage buffs. Those are redirected to this unit at 50% effectiveness. Mocking Taunt every 40 seconds. With this, it becomes 30 seconds. Taunt all enemies in range for 10 seconds, cleansing their stuns and causing them to run toward this unit. While taunted, they take plus 50% damage, minus reduce the damage reduced to plus 20% for nukes. After being taunted 3 times, the debuff becomes permanent for that enemy. So yeah, they just permanently will take that much more damage. We'll use this again because at least he can. Oh, I had the animation off. It's fine. We saw it once, but now he can. You know, he does a percentage of his damage in range, and we can see it's a lot. Does it get affected by crits? That was a lot of damage. Microphone? Okay. So I believe he's updated and he actually does damage now. But we're just here to show off this.
I've had enough. It's time to unleash my most devastating attack.
Why is the camera up so high?
I'll finish you off with this! Ultra Big Bang Kamehameha!
You can see my stupid face. Yeah, no, it's really good. But yeah, can't believe I messed up 2 different cutscenes in this one video. I'm a professional, I swear. The problem is if he's not. Oh, he permanently gains those though, which is interesting. I don't know where he gets. I think he gets cripple on fusion into Gogeta. I believe that's not from any of the passives. That's just something he gets. These are now, all of these guys are now permanent. He's extremely good. If his actual attack worked, I think he'd be a lot better. I don't know. Again, I still don't know how he compares overall. The math on the nuke will be interesting because Zamasu's does like with max damage stack on Zamasu does a couple trillion every 100 seconds versus this being a one-time use, but This should be an absolutely humongous nuke.